So I'm at the range today, and I had one tuning issue that was nagging my mind for the past couple days. And it's simply, when I'm shooting this Barebow rig, why do I have to put the point of the arrow just to the left of the bullseye? And so I thought about all the possible causes, and there are a myriad of possible causes. However, it's always best to start with the simple things, especially in archery. And one of the simplest things is the spine of the arrow matched to the bow. And this goes way back to some books I read on tuning bows way back in the 80s. I've been doing this sport for a long time. And Larry Wise wrote some really good basic tuning books. I would recommend them to anybody who shoots any kind of a bow, be it even crossbow, compound, recurve, doesn't matter. He talks about the arrows behaving stiff or behaving weak. And there is a difference. A weak arrow, this is physics, when it comes out of the bow, it's gonna bend more, and it's gonna, for a right-handed shooter, it's gonna come out, it's gonna start veering away from the bow. It's gonna give you arrows flying to the left. The spine will, the light spine will. Now, if you're shooting a heavier spined arrow, same bow, this is the key. How does the arrow react? Is it acting stiff? That's the key. So if it's acting stiff, when it comes out of the bow and it porpoises, it will start to veer to the right for a right-handed shooter. So my problem was simply the fact that I had to hold the point of the tip of the arrow just to the left of the bullseye to hit center. So what does that mean? That means that my arrows are falling to the right on the target, just an inch or two. And there are a myriad number of ways to correct that. But I honestly recommend start with the simplest things. And if you're shooting a modern recurve, like this ATF riser, they are very much adjustable in poundage. In fact, this one has quite a broad range of adjustment, as I remember. So the easiest thing to do is to correct a stiff acting arrow, simply crank up the bow. And I cranked up a full 2 turns on both the bottom and top limbs on this bow. And from the very first shot here at point blank range at 10 yards, shooting at a small bullseye, I could see immediately that that problem was solved that simply. So that was a solution. It was amazing that the first solution out of the barn was the correct one. So always start with simple things first, especially when it comes to archery. And if you're a traditionalist, if you shoot traditional bows, they don't have, the adjustment usually on the tiller. So what you're left with is the arrow itself. And if you're shooting traditional wooden arrows or metal arrows or carbon arrows, basically the way you adjust the spine with the original arrow is by adding weight onto the front, which will weaken the spine, or taking off weight on the front, which will stiffen the arrow as it flexes out of the bow. So keep these things in mind. The other thing is, if you're a traditional archer, the length of the arrow is big. It's a big factor. The longer the arrow, the weaker the spine. The shorter the arrow, the stiffer the spine. So if you're interested in tuning the spine of the arrow on a wooden bow, that's what you have to work with. So this new Barebow sport is really emerging in the archery competitive world, and it's a good thing because this is a heck of a lot of fun. If you can learn how to tune a very simple Barebow, then if you want to go back to the high-tech gadgets, you're gonna be ahead of the game.